I've always been drawn to the inexplicable, the eerie, and the unknown. That's why, when the opportunity arose to visit Aokigahara Forest in Japan, I couldn't resist. They called it the Sea of Trees, but I knew it by its other name, the Suicide Forest. It was a place shrouded in darkness, both literal and metaphorical. As I ventured deeper into the forest, the daylight waned, and the towering trees began to swallow me in their shadows. An ominous silence hung in the air, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves or the distant hoot of an owl. The forest had an unnatural stillness, as if it held its breath, waiting for something. I had heard stories of lost souls wandering these woods, their anguished whispers lingering in the breeze. The forest had a reputation for luring people into its depths, a siren's call that led them astray. But I was determined not to fall victim to its sinister charm. As I trudged on, the trees seemed to close in around me, forming an oppressive canopy above. The once familiar path began to blur, and I felt a growing unease. Every step I took seemed to echo through the forest, as if it were counting my progress, drawing me further into its clutches. The air grew colder, and a thick mist settled around me, obscuring my vision. Panic gnawed at the edges of my mind, but I pressed on, trying to convince myself that it was just my imagination playing tricks. But deep down, I knew better. Then I heard it, a faint, mournful melody, like the distant strumming of a guitar. My heart raced as I followed the haunting sound, stumbling over gnarled roots and moss-covered stones. The melody grew louder, more distinct, and I realized it was the voice of a woman, singing a sorrowful tune in a language I couldn't understand. I called out, hoping to find the source of the voice, but received no reply. The song continued, its haunting beauty pulling me deeper into the forest. I couldn't resist its allure, no matter how much I tried. My rational thoughts crumbled under the weight of that ethereal melody. Time lost meaning as I wandered aimlessly, following the spectral song. The forest seemed to shift around me, the trees twisting and contorting like grotesque figures in a macabre dance. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, and I glimpsed fleeting apparitions among the trees. Fear gnawed at my soul, but I couldn't break free from the song's grip. It whispered promises of solace, of escape from the world's pain and suffering. It offered a seductive release from the oppressive reality that had driven so many to their tragic ends in this forest. But just as I felt myself slipping into the abyss, I heard another sound, a faint, distant scream that shattered the enchantment. It was a reminder of the forest's true nature, a place where lost souls met their tragic fate. With renewed determination, I fought the song's pull and retraced my steps, back through the shifting, menacing trees. The mist cleared, and I found myself back on the path, gasping for breath. The haunting melody faded into the distance, but its memory lingered, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked in Aokigahara. I stumbled out of the forest, shaken and terrified, vowing never to return. Aokigahara had shown me its darkest secrets, and I had narrowly escaped its grasp. As I walked away from that cursed place, I couldn't help but wonder about those who hadn't been as fortunate, the lost souls who still roamed the Sea of Trees, forever trapped in its eerie embrace. The wind whispered through the dense trees of Aokigahara Forest, carrying with it an eerie sense of foreboding as I ventured deeper into the darkness. The sun had long since dipped below the horizon, leaving behind a world shrouded in inky blackness. I had always been drawn to the macabre, and spending the night in this infamous suicide forest had been a morbid fascination of mine for years. Little did I know the horrors that awaited me. As I walked further into the forest, the moonlight cast eerie shadows that seemed to dance and sway in the corners of my vision. Twisted branches reached out like skeletal fingers, as if trying to pull me deeper into the abyss. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant hoot of an owl. I had expected to feel fear, but the overwhelming sensation was one of profound sadness. I followed a narrow trail, the path illuminated only by the dim light of my flashlight. My steps echoed in the quiet, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not alone. Every rustle in the underbrush sent shivers down my spine, and I could swear I heard faint whispers carried by the wind, as if the very trees were speaking to me. As I walked, I couldn't help but notice the occasional flutter of paper caught in the undergrowth. Suicide notes, I realized, left behind by those who had come here seeking an end to their pain. It was a chilling reminder of the grim history of this place, a history that seemed to seep into the very soil beneath my feet. Hours passed, and my flashlight began to flicker, its feeble beam growing weaker with each passing minute. Panic gnawed at the edges of my mind, but I pressed on, desperate to find a way out of this sinister labyrinth. That's when I heard it, a faint, mournful melody drifting through the darkness. I followed the haunting tune, my heart pounding in my chest. The melody led me deeper into the forest until I stumbled upon a small clearing. In the center of the clearing, an old weathered piano stood, its keys caked with moss and dirt. Moonlight bathed the scene, giving the piano an ethereal glow. I approached the piano, my curiosity overpowering my fear. As I drew closer, I saw a figure seated at the bench, their back to me. They were playing the melancholic melody, their fingers moving gracefully across the keys. I couldn't see their face, but their presence exuded an aura of sorrow. "Who are you?" I stammered, my voice trembling. The figure didn't respond, but the music continued, its mournful notes filling the air. I reached out to touch the figure's shoulder, but my hand passed through them as if they were nothing more than a ghostly apparition. A sense of dread washed over me as I realized the truth. This forest held more than just the echoes of lost souls. It held their restless spirits. I stumbled away from the piano, my heart racing, and began retracing my steps, desperate to escape. But the forest had other plans. The trees seemed to twist and contort, their branches forming a wall that blocked my path. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped, surrounded by the mournful whispers of the lost and the haunting melody of the phantom pianist. I sank to my knees, tears streaming down my face, as the forest closed in around me. In that moment, I understood the true horror of Aokigahara, a place where the darkness of despair and the weight of countless tragedies converged, where the line between the living and the dead blurred, and where I, too, would become just another lost soul, forever trapped in its malevolent embrace.